The first episode, the problem was there was like a missile going
Yeah.
to hit Tokyo, and now they're just like, uh-oh, they gotta use flashlights. Like,
青へ強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を越えろ
Welcome to Podages, your critically nostalgic analytical tour to the Digimon anime. I'm your host, Jeff Ruberg. This week we are discussing Digimon Adventure 2020, Episode 13, Garudamon of the Crimson Wings, and my guest this week is my co-host from Lover to Weeb It, and the closest thing I could find to someone who has no interest in Digimon, but would still agree to watch 13 episodes and record a podcast. Thanks for coming on the show, Amy.
you're welcome.
As dictated by our contract, I watched BTS daily.
Thank you.
To in compensation for you watching 13 episodes of Digimon.
It's all I ask, but also it feels like a very unfair trade. Like the amount of time I had to put into this versus what you did.
Okay, but I actually like Dynamite now, so.
Yes! Oh my god.
I think it was the first BTS song I heard that I actually liked on the first listen.
Wow. I'm so happy that you like at least one.
So I have a list of questions that I ask every guest when it's their first time on the show. Some of these will not apply to you, but who cares? Annie, what is your Digimon backstory? How did you get into Digimon? What parts of the franchise, VPETs, toys, anime, etc. are you familiar with? And which seasons have you seen? And dubbed or subbed?
Okay, so how did I get into Digimon? You made me. I feel like actually when I was a little kid, it was probably on, and I feel like I watched some of it, but I have almost no recollection of that.
I mean, you were a baby, right?
Yes.
You would have been 4 when Digimon first premiered.
Yeah, but it went on for like reruns and stuff for a long time. So I feel like when I was in like first grade, second grade, it was probably on, but I didn't keep watching.
Especially if you had cable with your filthy rich money and watched it on like ABC Family, maybe.
I don't know where I watched it. I think I watched it on what's it? Is the one? It was the same place where the Animaniacs was. I don't remember what channel that was, but I remember watching that, and I feel like Digimon came on at some point on that same channel.
I associate Animaniacs with WB, but I never actually watched it on TV. So
I think WB is where I watched it.
well, Digimon was on Fox Kids and never on the WB. So
Oh well, never
we know
mind.
your memory is solid.
See, okay, so Digimon not in my brain at all.
Okay, so what's your favorite season?
This one.
Can you name a season?
2020.
Can you name another season?
No.
Okay. Favorite Digimon?
Oh, Lilymon? Is that one?
Yeah,
Is that the flower one that looks like that one flower Pokemon but isn't?
Okay, wow, okay. You didn't need to you could have just said the flower Pokemon. Flower Digimon. Favorite villain?
I don't know. The bees?
The bee.
The beehive? The giant metal beehive? That's apparently a Digimon?
I was gonna say the other ones are wasps.
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry. I don't remember anyone's name.
Okay, favorite adventure character. So this usually means like of the kids, of the 6 you've seen. Plus, I guess there are actually 8 you've seen.
Okay,
if you
so
remember.
I remember. I think I don't remember anyone's name, but I think her name's Sora, the girl we meet first.
Whoa.
What do you mean? Whoa.
Well, okay.
Is she bad? I like her.
I can now reveal why I told you in advance I couldn't tell you why I was scheduling you for this week, and the reason is I didn't want to like tarnish your perception while you're watching the episodes. And the reason is this is a Sora episode, and it's not that people dislike Sora; it's that Sora is no one's favorite.
Oh.
So when I asked people who their favorite character was, her Digimon stuff, like no one said Sora. So I was like, oh no, who do I get on for the Sora episode?
It's me.
And I think that also is reflected by the animator's preferences as well.
Yeah, she gets like no time. I think that's why I like her.
I think this might be even hotter since you don't know much about Digimon. What's your hottest Digimon take?
None of them are cute. I'm so sorry to Digimon, but
what did you text me before we started recording? Oh right. Oh, because I was trying to get suggestion from you for the Digiprompt at the end of the episode, and you're like, "What if you ask, is there a single cute Digimon, and where are they?" Wow, that's harsh.
I'm sorry. They're not cute. They're honestly frightening, and some of them are furry bait, and it's just uncomfortable.
There are some cute Digimon you haven't met. I don't think this season, aside from like Patamon's in the opening, little like bat thing.
I don't know who that is.
Well, this season I think is pretty light on very cute Digimon, but I'll send you a picture of Patamon.
Okay.
Okay, the Patamon has been sent.
Oh, I've seen this. I've seen this places. I don't know where, but somewhere.
Is he cute or horrifying?
A little of both.
I want to show you also what he evolved into.
How? In what universe is this what this little guy evolves into?
Apparently, it's the imagery that he's based on in rookie form is like supposed to be referencing like something about like Cupid's some kind of angelic imagery of like messengers or something. I'm not sure exactly
Not
where.
Cupid Hermes, if he's a messenger.
Yeah, I guess so. But Hermes isn't an angel.
No, but he has like those little swirlies that are on like his
Right.
foot,
So
and
I'm not sure. There's some reference there that like it's not as there is some connection to angelic imagery, but I don't remember what it is. So anyway, okay. Now I have a list of questions for Digimon Anties because
is that me?
that yeah, Annie the Digimon Auntie, which I
Ah,
realize
sorry.
sounds like auntie, not auntie, but
I am also an ant, so this works.
yeah, Annie the anti Digimon Auntie. Anyway, okay. So some of these are just kind of like I'm curious to hear your perception of what Digimon is like, but also some of them are kind of quizzes to see how wrong you are and what ways you're wrong.
Okay, I can't wait.
How is Digimon different than Pokemon?
Less cute. And I don't know if it's just this season, because again, this is the only season I've watched. But the story is not very compelling, and it's overly complicated, I feel like. In Pokemon, it was just like, we're going on an adventure, we'll see what happens. And I was like, cool. Also, might be an age difference. I don't know. Because, like, when I was a kid, Pokemon was lit. It's like, oh, we'll just go fight people, go be the best. And now that I'm an adult watching this Digimon series, I'm like, when are we gonna get to some plot?
Hmm. What do you think people like about Digimon?
I honestly could not tell you. I don't know. Nostalgia for what was on when they were a child.
You're not wrong,
It's like,
but
it could be interesting, but it's not to me.
all right. How many seasons of Digimon are there?
7?
Oh, it's not far off.
Is there more or
Well,
less?
I'm trying to think because now it's gotten hard to count because there used to be like everything was the same kind of thing, and now it's like, well, there's 7 plus. Then there was Atmon, which 99% counts as a Digimon series, and then there was this one, which I guess makes it 8. But there was also an OVA series. Does that count? Does that make it 9, or is it? So anyway, you're in the right ballpark.
Wow, I'm a star.
How many Digimon do you think there
More than 10.
are? Okay, you have to give me a number.
Okay, well, they all evolve 1,000 times, so I'm gonna say 800.
Okay. The latest, I don't know, I don't really follow like this kind of statistic that much, but there's a official Digimon reference book that is like an online thing that the company maintains and stuff. And apparently there is a recent entry in there that is the 999th. So, all
Okay, I was close. I should have just said 1,000, but it's fine.
right. Okay. So you have a mental image of Taichi in your mind, right? The main character of the show?
Yeah, big hair.
Yeah. What's the one element of his design, of his character design, that almost every Digimon protagonist shares?
Their face?
What does that mean?
They all look the same.
Uh, no.
I don't know.
Goggles.
Goggles?
Yeah, that's iconic. That's Digimon's iconic for goggle heads. The protagonist of almost every series has been a goggle head.
Well, how am I supposed to know? This is my first season, Jeff.
I'm curious if that is something that trickled down to people who don't know much about Digimon. The answer is no.
No!
Okay, so you know Mimi. In episode 44 of the original adventure show, Mimi catches the Digimon's attack and throws the attack back at them. What do you think the item is that she catches?
Is Mimi, Cowboy Hat Aerith from Final Fantasy?
Uh, she's not Aerith's voice actor.
No, she just looks like Aerith with a cowboy hat.
Oh.
That's Mimi, right?
Yes, but I don't think she looks that much like Aerith, but okay.
Well, okay, Mimi. Wait, so in Digimon Adventure episode 4, how am I supposed to know this? I didn't watch this.
Okay, just what would you think of something that she would catch and then throw back? What kind of thing would she catch?
I don't know. A book? She threw a book in this, so maybe she caught a book from a Digimon. An apple. Do
Okay,
they have apples in the digital world?
I'm sending you a picture of what you caught. It's a giant pink poop.
This is horrible. I hate you. This is the worst. I hate Digimon.
Okay, next question came in from Andy Lucas CT, and they asked Marcus Damon / Diamond Masaru, who is the protagonist of season 5, Digimon Savers and or Digimon Data Squad. He has to do what each time before his Agumon can digivolve. So there's something he has to
What?
do. Like the other characters in the show can just evolve, but he has to do like he as the kid has to do something before his Agumon can evolve.
Does he just have to yell, Agumon, evolve? Digivolve?
No. He
Does he
has
have to hurt himself, like in...
he has to draw blood
Yeah.
before you can activate the Titan transformation. Like,
Yes.
no, he has to punch the Digimon.
That's the same thing.
Okay. So you've seen two different types of Digivolution so far. You've seen like normal Digimon that just like evolve in the episode, and you've also seen in the beginning of the show two Digimon fusing into one
Yes,
in episode 2 and 3,
I
right?
remember that.
It was a little bit untraditional because it kind of skipped a couple stages in between, which we've now seen those stages in between. But anyway, so there I'm gonna throw a so there's traditional evolution, two Digimon combining. In other seasons, there's also kids fusing with a Digimon, like the two of them like become one.
Oh boy.
Kids becoming a Digimon, like
Oh.
there's not a partner Digimon, they just like a Power Ranger just become the Digimon.
Oh.
So those three concepts. I'm gonna throw a bunch of names at you. What do you think of those three concepts? Which one do you think Jogress is?
Kid fuses with a Digimon.
Nope, it's two Digimon combining.
What?
What do you think DNA Digivolving is?
DNA digivolving?
Mm-hmm.
Kid becomes a Digimon?
No, it's also two Digimon combining.
What is happening?
They swirl around like a DNA helix thing. So I guess they call it a DNA Digivolution in the dub.
This is so ridiculous.
What do you think Matrix evolution is?
Two Digimon combining?
No, it's the kid becoming
No!
kid combining with a Digimon.
I hate this game. I can't win.
What do you think Digicross is?
That is a kid fuses with a Digimon. It has to
No,
be.
it's two Digimon combining.
This is
Two
the
or more Digimon.
worst. This is why no one likes Digimon, Jeff.
Okay, so the last question came in from Modern Gaffa on Twitter, and he basically asked, so if you're looking at the doc, you can see these three different characters. These are three of the kind of like most infamous and disliked Digimon characters in the fandom. So on the left is Willis/Wallace with the blonde hair. In the middle is Rio with, is that brown hair?
Yeah.
Whatever. He has the dual disc or whatever. And then on the right is Mako. She's the girl.
Yes.
So marry, kiss, kill the three of them.
My instinct is to kill the little blonde boy. So he's out. Sorry to Wallace.
Yeah.
Okay, bye Wallace. Then there's the two. I think. Well, they're children. I don't.
One of them's a high school student.
Which one?
The girl.
Okay, then I will marry her. This isn't appropriate.
So you're gonna kiss Rio? Wow. Okay.
Just on the cheek, little kiss, little peck for the guy with the dual disc on his arm.
I censored it down to marry, kiss, kill.
Yeah, but
So
what a nerd.
I don't want to. I don't want to bother bleeping out the F word. So
Okay, I won't say it.
Yeah. So you killed Willis. He is in. You should watch the Digimon movie someday.
No.
With all the great music, like Bare Naked Ladies, Smash Mouth.
What? All right, I'm back. Wait, no, we can't listen to Smash Mouth anymore. They're canceled.
Oh yeah. So now you failed the test. You have to go back to Digimon
failed
Academy.
The test?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Adventure 2020 after you've watched all 13 episodes that are currently out?
Okay, my first and foremost question is why does this show hate Joe so much? They make him the worst and like abuse him at every turn. And like I don't hate Joe. He's done some dumb stuff, but like it feels like the show really wants to beat him down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the only thing I notice every episode. I'm like, can we leave Joe alone for 5 seconds?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective because for us returning Digimon fans, it's kind of like we're just used to Joe getting that, so it's like nothing new.
You have this poor boy who just wants to study for his exams and was pulled into this dumb digital world, and he is just getting abused and thrown from Digimon in the sky.
But he's a wet blanket, so it's a kid's show. You have to make fun of the wet blanket.
No, he almost got murdered several times.
Did you have a favorite episode?
No. Wait, maybe. Okay, so the one where Joe almost got killed with that laser beam because he was waving the towel around.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yamato had to learn the power of friendship after abandoning everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was just running around like crazy people on the beach while they got shot at. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That made me laugh. Every other episode, I was like, let's just go back to
Okay, that's kind of in more extreme way how I felt too. So, did you have a least favorite episode though?
all of the other ones. Actually, episode I think 4, the first one I watched when you told me I have to watch the rest of these.
Uh-huh.
It was so boring. It was just them like going through the jungle and then they met the bird one, the pink bird, Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like very predictable, like, oh no, there's a big scary Digimon that's gonna try to eat them. And then, well, no, we're gonna Digivolve or whatever to beat them up. And I was like, can we just get onto the actual story? I'm so tired.
I guess I should have mentioned this at the top, and now I'm stupid for not realizing that. So Annie mentioned starting with episode 4 this time because I actually forced her to watch episodes 1 to 3 a couple months ago for our other podcast for Love It or Weeb It. So I'll have a link in the show notes to our episode about that, so you can hear her impressions on the first 3 episodes as a like sample about whether to get into the show. And clearly she decided not to, because I had to force her to keep watching. But
And I'm glad that I had made that decision, and now I regret saying yes to this.
yeah, because at the time you were like, maybe I'll keep watching. Now
Yeah.
you've come to realize you should not have.
Well, if I had just been watching on my own and episode 4 came on, I would not have kept going.
Oh.
I think that's my least favorite one.
Okay, so now I'm curious about how this series has worked for you as an introduction to some core Digimon concepts. A bunch of these are things that, like, as Digimon fans, we don't even think about because it's like ingrained in our knowledge. So, what have you gathered are the names of the evolution stages?
There's stages? Okay, so there's like baby mode when they look like babies, and then there's their evolution, and then there's a mega evolution, and then there's an ultimate evolution, and then you're God?
uh,
Am I right?
Some parts of that are correct. Wait, so you think there's a mega evolution before an ultimate evolution?
Isn't that what the second one is?
Wait, so you think like
Am I wrong?
do you know any names? Do you know Agumon?
Agumon's the one with Taichi, right?
Mm-hmm. And then Agumon evolves into Greymon.
Yeah.
And then Metal Greymon.
Yeah.
So you think Agumon is baby.
Yes.
What's Greymon?
Evolution? Mega evolution?
Mega?
I don't know. He evolves. Well, wasn't he something else before he was Agumon?
Oh, yeah.
So
What do
he
you think
was
that's called?
baby.
That's baby.
Maybe that was okay. So that's baby, and then he evolves into Agumon for some reason forever, and he can hold that evolution. But then when he's the big one, he can't
Wait, so
hold
what's
that.
Agumon though?
Fine, he's just the evolution from baby.
Oh, so it's baby, then evolution, then mega, then ultimate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then God.
So I think the only ones that I'm like 100% sure they've mentioned that they've actually name dropped in the show are ultimate. I don't remember if they actually name dropped the other ones.
They say ultimate a lot, and I don't know if this is like a new thing for this season, but it feels like evolving's not a big deal at all. Because they're just like, whoa, it's ultimate. And I'm like, everyone's ultimate evolving. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, don't feel like impressed by that.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel, there's like, oh, wow, he evolved. I was like, yeah, everybody evolves every episode. Don't act so shocked.
That's a really interesting perspective to hear, because in the original show it was kind of like they all got their so the base form is called rookie, like Agumon's a rookie.
Okay.
In Japanese it's called child, but in the dub it's called
Baby.
rookie. No, but baby is the smaller one before that in
Yeah,
Japanese.
okay,
Baby
that's
1 and
right.
baby 2, actually there's 2 different ones, but anyway.
Oh.
So then there's baby 1. Okay, so there's rookie / child. Then Agumon evolves into Greymon. Greymon is champion / adult. You know, like the song? It goes like, Digimon are the champions. That's because the stage is called champion. And then Metal Greymon is ultimate in the dub / perfect in the original Japanese, basically. I mean, that's a translated term. But so one of the weird things that this show has been doing has been using more like faithful / literal romanizations of Japanese names, but using the dub localized terminology for the stage names. So the fact they call it ultimate in the subtitles is kind of controversial. But anyway.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't think they've name dropped like rookie / child or champion / adult at all. So I don't know how you would even know. Like, you just
why
know,
are
like,
you asking
okay.
me questions I can't answer?
But I want to know what you can't answer.
I can't answer any of this shit.
What are the little things that they all carry around? Like sometimes they glow and they can talk to each other through them sometimes.
Oh, they're like little walkie-talkies?
Mm-hmm. What are they called?
Digivices?
Ooh, where'd you hear that term?
In the show.
Did they say it in the show?
I think so.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So you got that? Okay.
That or my memory is coming back. And I did, when you said the song, I forgot that triggered a memory for me. And I was like, Digimon, Digital Monsters. Can we just play that? Could that be this episode?
What, you singing?
No, just have that song going and I'll just like
oh god, no.
be hyped to it.
So especially in these, I think it's actually been throughout this show since episode 1. When something important happens, there are symbols that flash on those little digivices. What do you think those are?
What the symbols are?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do they mean, or like what are they?
Anything. Like, what are your impressions of that as a concept?
It's aesthetic.
So you think it's like a this is this character symbol?
Yeah, it's like their little decoration to say like this is Taichi's digivice. Nobody else take it. When you're all cleaning up or something and he left it on the table.
Okay, so you don't think there's anything else of significance?
Well, now that you're saying, is there anything significant? I'm like, yeah, okay, probably unlock some secret digital world just for them, but I don't know. Oh my god, am I right, Jeff?
I was drinking water, but no.
Oh. You paused, and I was like,
See, I don't know how much to reveal to you because I'm curious how this comes off to someone who doesn't know this stuff. But I guess you're not going to keep watching past this
no,
point.
I'm sure
So,
not gonna keep watching.
um, basically, in the original show, those, I mean, and they haven't officially confirmed in this version, but like everyone's assuming they're going to. Those symbols are like, they call them crests, and there's actually like a whole arc of them having to find them before they actually can use them. And they, in the original show, actually use them to unlock their ultimate evolution, like the ones that they're unlocking the stage around. They actually have to like, so the structure of the original show was like they unlock all their champion evolutions like right away, just like the show. Like the first couple episodes are them getting champion evolutions, and then there's like they're at that stage for a while they're searching for these crests, and then they have to like after they find the physical item, then they have to like activate them separately. So there's like a whole for some characters like 20 episodes before they get to the next stage. But in this version, it's just like, nope, here you go. There's a single episode without an evolution.
Yes, it's quite taxing.
But yeah, so these they call them crests, right? And they each of them is supposed to represent an attribute. So like each character has a crest of blank. If based on what you've seen of these characters so far, if you were to assign an attribute to each one, could you do that?
An attribute like in Captain Planet when they all had the different rings.
Yeah, but not an element, more like a characteristic.
Okay, well, one of them was heart, so I'm gonna make that one of these.
So you're going with heart for Sora?
Yeah, she's so compassionate.
Okay.
It is courage, Tai Chi.
Okay, so you think Tai Chi's courage?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like dumb, just running into stuff.
So yeah, so Tai Chi's is like looks kind of looks like a sun with like things radiating out from it. Yamato has, I don't know how you describe it. It's like it kind of looks like those like weapons in RPGs that like you grab in the middle and it has like blades on the side, kind of.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it
Like a double-sided lightsaber, but sword.
kind of, yeah.
Ew, I hate myself.
So what do you think? What do you think Yamato represents?
Cunning? I don't know.
Okay, so Sora, you said heart.
I need a list of characteristics so I can
No,
confirm them.
Koshiro is kind of like
Brain.
two circles with like concentric circles in the left one, and
Strategy. No, that's the same as cunning. Oh, it's a tough. He's annoying.
the crest of annoying.
Yeah. I really nothing him because he kind of wasn't there for most of this. And then when he
Aw.
did show up, he's like, I'm just going to take some pictures of some walls. Bye. Do
Okay,
something.
so Mimi has like looks like a teardrop with circles inside.
Okay, all of these hurt. I don't know. She's sad?
The crest of sadness. Okay.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't have a list of attributes of people.
Joe's is one of the weirdest ones because
God.
it's like a cross with triangles around it.
My poor Joe.
Are you saying God like an interjection, or like you think that's the
He's
trait?
got no, just an interjection. This poor guy. I don't know, because every time they're like Digimon evolve, they say something like when what's her Mimi, she gets her little plant to evolve into Lilymon. They're like, your grief and anger made me this, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I guess when Joe's Digimon, whose name I can't remember, Digivolves, he's like, wow, you actually cared about me instead of running away to study. And then he like evolved or whatever. It's like, is that a hint? Like her grief and anger? She's emotional for Mimi? I don't know.
She's emotional. Kind of. You still have an answer for Joe, so I don't want to reveal too much.
He is a worrier.
Worrier, okay. Crest
I
of
don't
worry.
know. I'm sorry.
So the thing that's interesting is that at this similar point in the original show, they hadn't actually revealed all of them, or like what the traits were or anything, until after they had activated some of them. Like I guess we saw episodes where they embodied the trait well enough to activate the crest, and then we later learned like, oh yeah, that. So you got Tai Chi right. His courage.
Incredible.
And so then like late like so in the original show, Tai Chi has this whole arc about courage, and he like, but we don't even at that point they haven't said the word courage. In the dub they did say it earlier though, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, there's been a lot of speculation in the fan communities about whether these characters have been embodying their crest attributes properly or not, and it's just weird because the show has not actually mentioned them at all. So I was curious to see what you would think from these episodes they embody. But yeah, so Tai Chi's courage. Yamato is supposed to be friendship.
How? And he just learned what friendship is.
Yeah, so sometimes it's that they actually struggle really hard with the thing, you know? But anyway. Oh, Sora is love, not heart, but you're close enough. Koshiro was knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, poor Joe. He wishes that was him. He would wish that he was knowledge. He'd be pissed.
Yeah. No, Joe's not that smart, but he has to struggle really hard to do well in school.
Oh.
The Mimis, this is one of the ones that changed a bit in dub localization. The one that is in the dub is sincerity. So like they kind of kept that with like it's like her sincere emotions showing through when Lima evolves, right? But
Yeah, I guess.
the
This
original term in
sucks.
Japanese was more like purity and innocence.
Ew.
Which, yeah, is gross to associate with women and girls, but makes even less sense if it was like your grief and anger have powered me up with
So
through your
pure.
innocence. Yeah.
So pure that you're angry.
Yeah, it's like the purity of the anger, maybe?
Well, she was angry because her friend died. Her friend she had met 5 minutes ago.
Right. Ugh. And what did you think about that episode?
It was weird. Didn't love.
A lot of people have really loved it and have been like, this is what's great about Mimi. This is like, if you want to get someone to love Mimi, like, just show them this episode and they'll love Mimi. And clearly it didn't work very well on you, but I also think
No.
it like,
Well, she like showed like basic like, "Oh, you're so dusty. Let me just boop." And then suddenly this Digimon's devoted to her and willing to die? Like,
yeah,
what?
it was kind of like, I don't think Mimi did anything in the entire, like, she was extremely passive. She did the
Yeah.
thing that she did to get to earn Gardamon's trust or whatever was, yeah, it was the most basic act of compassion. Like, it doesn't
And
really say much about her
barely.
character. It's just,
She immediately did that and was like, "Okay, bye," and like walked away.
yeah. So yeah, I feel like people have praised it as being like a really great Mimi episode, and I'm like, it was really a Gargamon. Gargamon's the friend Digimon that died or whatever. It's
Yeah.
really an episode about him that Mimi happens to be in.
Uh-huh. And then Mimi, when he like dies, is like, "I'll never forgive you." And then or to the other guy, to the android Digimon or something.
Hmm.
He's like, "I'll never forgive you. I'm so angry." And she doesn't do anything. Then Lilymon shows up and does something. Also, is that the ultimate evolution?
Hmm.
Also, okay, the evolutions for that Digimon do not make any damn sense.
I thought you liked the cactus.
I do like the cactus, but he comes from like, this weird little cabbage. So it was like cabbage, cactus, pretty flower, and like none of this makes any sense.
Well, the flower fairy lady comes out of the bud from the top of the cactus,
I
but
guess, but like at least like Yamato's makes some sense. It's like weird dog, big dog, and then furry bait dog with cargo pants. It's like that makes sense, like evolution wise. And then Agumon's makes sense because he's little dinosaur, big dinosaur with metal. Like those make sense. Why does Mimi's Digimon be like three completely different things? I just what?
I want to show you what traditionally Lilymon evolves into because it is what you're asking for.
Is she a hoe?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't want to say
god.
that, but
Oh my good gracious.
Rosemon is basically Lilymon, but made to be. It's Lilymon, but with a bunch more male gaze.
Good lord.
And in most times she's appeared in the anime, she has had elaborate jiggle physics.
No.
Yeah.
Lilymon's evolution. Is this her god mode? The one that's after ultimate?
Well, yes, it's called
What is that
Mega.
called? Mega. That one's
In
Mega?
in the dub,
Okay.
in the even more confusingly in Japanese, it's called Ultimate.
With her
But
thigh high leather shoes. Jesus Christ. Her literal whip and like switch. I
oh yeah,
just
and wait, I'm gonna look up her attack names because they're even worse.
bondage queen Digimon.
Okay, it's not like literal bondage, but it's Forbidden Temptation.
Oh.
I guess that's the worst one.
This is worse because it's paired with the pure innocence girl.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Lilymon is like a queer icon. Like
Well, yeah, look at her
all the
outfit.
gays love Lilymon, and then Rosemon is just like the most straight bro take on that.
Yeah. Ugh.
But oh wait, did I? Oh wait, I didn't mention Joe.
Yeah, what's Joe?
Joe's I'm gonna do the dub version first. I mean, okay, actually, no, I'll do the Japanese. The original Japanese term means like faithfulness, and it kind of also means
Like
sincerity a little
loyalty?
too. Yeah, like faithfulness and loyalty.
He is the least loyal. He was he was like,
Well,
"All right, I'm going to study." And then he's like, "All right, I'll just surrender cuz I don't believe in my friends." Like, what?
okay, he's faithful and loyal to the system that he grew up. Like he's faithful and loyal to the
I
school
am
structure.
exhausted. I am exhausted.
But the dub term they went with was reliability.
Where? He's
Yeah.
constantly being caught and like needed to be saved and is causing trouble. Reliable.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest like
Who can
awkwardness. Like
rely on him?
if they done like responsibility or something, like he's all about responsibility.
Barely.
Well, like he's all
He's
about
not
like
responsible. I guess he is into responsibility, but he's not responsible.
right. He's not like in this in this like action movie they're in. He's not a good action movie star, but in the real world, he would be useful.
Oh my god.
Okay, so and the last question came in from DJ Discobot, and they asked, "Why do you think these kids are important in particular? Like, why is the story about them?"
Because they all go to the same summer camp, and that's all. It's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, that was true in the original show, but Yamato doesn't even live near Tokyo
Well,
in
he
this
has a
version.
brother there.
Yeah.
So maybe his brother went to the summer camp. I don't know. Did they all get traumatized as a youth?
Well, we don't know in this
Were
version,
they all
obviously.
bitten by a radioactive Digimon?
I wish.
Doesn't make any dang sense.
In the original version, they all lived in the same apartment complex when a Digimon attack happened, and they all saw it. And it's the kids that saw it happening. And then
Okay.
later they happened to go to the same summer camp at the same time, which seems a little bit too coincidental. But anyway, yeah. So we don't
Right.
know why these kids are chosen in this version, but yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's dive into this episode. Digimon Adventure 2020, episode 13, Garudamon of the Crimson Wings, aka the Birds Dramon and the Bees Dramon, aka Jerry Seinfeld's B movie, aka To Be or Not to Be. And the spoiler policy for this episode is that we're going to talk about everything in the Crunchyroll episode, including the next episode title and preview, but not any text summaries or titles for anything beyond next episode. So, Annie, what do you think about this episode?
Yeah, it was fine. I like seeing Sora, but
Did you feel like it was more or less fine than others?
at this point, I've seen them fight and defeat Ultimate Digimon so many times. It doesn't feel like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest deal was like the little monologue, like, we're all contributing together. And I was like, haha, I get it, because you're in like a beehive, whatever.
Okay.
But like, I don't know, it was like working together, that's the key. And I was like, ugh, I get it. Good for you. Can you just hurry up so we can figure out what else we need to do?
Yeah, I thought this episode was probably my least favorite of all of them. I guess it competes with episode 4.
Dang.
And it's sad that the one I'm struggling to compare it to, the two that I'm putting as my least favorite were both Sora episodes, and
I like her, but like the story just isn't good.
I think in so many, like both from the writer's standpoint and the animator standpoint, I think they aren't pouring the love into her, ironically, and in a way that they're at least trying to do other characters. And like I think Joe also, like whenever they animate a Kakamon, they also tend to like not animate a Kakamon very much. A Kakamon's the big white seal esque thing.
Oh yes,
Seal.
Joe's.
Yeah, Joe's. Yeah. But at least like Joe gets lots of moments of personality, and like Gomamon has tons of personality. But even if they don't animate a Kakamon, but Sora and like Birdramon, they have like never animated much. This episode I think had some of the worst Birdramon animation, because she does her meteor wing attack where she like flaps her wings and then like meteors come out of her wings. But there's a time where she does in this episode where it's just like the meteors come from above her wings. Like they didn't even
Woof.
draw them properly coming from out of her wings.
I'm not gonna be nasty to people because animating's hard, but boy, was this show not good at animating things. It's hard.
And you don't just mean this episode, you mean the whole show?
The whole show.
That's an interesting take, because from Digimon fan perspective, we're like, oh my god, this is like pristine animation quality, better than anything we've ever seen before.
Oh, it's so clunky and like, I guess maybe I'm just so angry about episode 4. There is
Episode 4 was probably the worst animation quality.
yeah, or there was like one scene, I feel like it was episode 4, perhaps not, but like this big Digimon was like pushing through like the jungle. Maybe this was 5, and like every step it took wasn't a step, it was just the drawing of that Digimon like moving forward. I was like, wait, like I know we're zoomed out, but I can see he's not stepping.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a lot of the fight scenes are just stand there, yell baby flame or whatever flame, and then like look at the light go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never really questioned that. I guess the like almost unilateral consensus among Digimon fans that the show has been so much better at not doing that. At like in the original show, it was definitely like, oh, Agumon evolved into Greymon. Greymon does his one named attack, shoots it off, and then wins the battle, and that's the end of the battle. And there's no actual like physicality to fights. It's just like they do their named attack maybe once, maybe twice, and that's it. And the show, like at least when they're fighting, they generally like have to actually do things. Like there's something dynamic to the action that's not just doing the named attack. But without that low bar being used to nothing, even that doesn't feel like much, I guess.
I feel like there were some scenes that were like fine. I was like, that's not bad. But I feel like that's being overshadowed by like the few scenes that I saw that I was like, okay, thank you.
Um, did you notice how, because this thing's been bothering me, like with an eye to how they're not giving much love to Sora, but like when Piamon evolves to Bergamon in episode 4, it's like this really lackluster sequence that's just like a little like leg pokes out through some flames. And then Bergamon evolves several times after that and like never gets a sequence. And
Yeah, but Agumon gets one like 8 times every episode.
yeah.
I was actually a little bothered by that because I was like, there's a lack of consistency of when we evolve.
Like sometimes it's this big sequence, sometimes it's just
Yeah.
like off screen, sometimes it's like a little flash.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, not everyone gets it. I think it's like just just Agumon gets like this big like magical girl sequence, and everyone
and
else is like, "Whoop, we're here." Like,
and
oh,
Ga- and
and the
Gabumon gets it.
furry, yeah,
Yeah, the furry one, yeah.
the furry bait. He's in like emo cargo pants. I couldn't stop laughing.
Okay, he predated the furry fad.
He started the furry thing.
You're right.
Ah.
Okay. Let's do a quick recap of this episode, but I don't think we'll linger on anything too much. Ugh. The Digimon Encyclopedia this time with the info about Piamon felt so weird because they were saying that like Kosher was saying that Piamon wasn't very good at flying, but it was improving thanks to Sora. It's like, what does this human girl have to teach a bird about how to fly? Like that's not.
What?
And then also Piamon has a habit of first pecking at anything that looks interesting. It's like that's not something we've ever seen her do. That just does not fit. This is weird details. I don't like it.
I don't get it.
Yeah. But yeah, so they basically, Bergamon and Sora's group are basically flying over a jungle. They see a bunch of Fun Beamon, and I don't like this name. I find confusing, Fun Beamon, because it's like if you romanize the Japanese, it's written out Fan Beamon, like it's fa, but
Okay.
that's actually like apparently like fan is a way to is what's the opposite of romanizing? Katakanizing?
Yeah.
Like so the katakana fan can be either fun or fan. So there's ambiguity about whether this name is Fan Beamon or Fun Beamon, but apparently there's some like Chinese pun that it plays better with Fun Beamon, and officially it's Fun Beamon. But anyway, they're not very fun. And they basically, the kids see a bunch of Fun Beamon approaching, and then they see they're getting caught by Waspmon, and then they just are like, okay, I guess we just save them. And this felt so perfunctory to me because it's just like, it just felt like it was both like moving too fast, but it wasn't actually that it was moving fast. It was just kind of like, oh, the Fun Beamon are there. Oh, are they on the run? Oh, no, they're getting captured. Oh,
I
there's a
didn't
big fortress.
understand what was
Oh,
happening.
huh. I guess we should save them. Did you actually, I found it like hard to parse what was going on?
I just was so well, one the I almost said Pokemon. The bee Digimon. The
Number
bee
one mistake
Digimon.
not to make on Digimon podcast.
I'm so sorry. You knew who I was before you told me to be here. The bee Digimon. I got confused at who was who. I was like, are these the bad ones or are these ones good? And then I was like, okay, these are baby. Do the babies turn into baddies? And then like I didn't know what's happening. And then I was like, why are they always meddling? Go do your thing. Tokyo's dying. Actually, Tokyo's fine. The power's out. You'll be okay. But this is not a big deal. Like, why do they?
The dire threat to Tokyo they're trying to save and like rush to save is that the power's out for a night. Like that's
Yeah, like
bad for sure, but
the
it's not
first
like
episode, the problem was there was like a missile going
yeah.
to hit Tokyo, and now they're just like, oh, they gotta use flashlights. Like what? And it's just Tokyo. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like I what was his name? Yamato. He was like, my little brother's in Tokyo. The power's out. We have to go.
Yeah, I've seen people propose that reasoning, like that character motivation would make a lot more sense if they said that like his brother was actually like hooked up to life support or something.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Well, yeah, if he was sick and he needed like the hospital to stay open, but also the hospitals. They said in the show that places with self-generating power are fine, and hospitals usually have backup generators, self-generators. So
Yeah. I mean, I just watched all of Japan Sinks, so I'm like, this power out, being out for a couple of days is nothing. And they've
yeah,
also like Koshiro, they haven't mentioned it in the last couple episodes, but like he kept being like, the power's out. Also, like if we don't stop this in 3 days, dot dot dot. And it's just like
3 days digital world time or 3 days real world time? Because
3
if
days
it's real
real
world,
world.
then you've got like a month.
Right. Also seen that as a common complaint that like it feel like them knowing that removes a lot of the urgency.
Yeah, they could be in there for 3 years and they'll be fine.
Because in the original show, they basically like there's no threat to Tokyo they're trying to save. They're just stuck in this other world, and they're trying to get home because they think they assume their parents are worried about them and everything. They're just trying to get home. And then midway through the series, in episode 20, the end of episode 20, Taichi basically gets accidentally sent to the real world, and you've probably seen the meme gif of like on August 1st when all the Digimon fans post about August 1st, and Taichi's looking at a calendar and it says August 1st. You've seen that for sure.
Okay, yes, sure.
And the reason that that's a moment is because they left on August 1st and then they've been there for months or whatever, like weeks or whatever. And then he gets back and he's like, it's still August 1st? What the hell? And that's when he learns that there's time
It's like
dilation.
Narnia.
Yeah. But so like the way this show is handled instead is like they know it off the bat and it's like people complain that it removes the urgency, but I don't know.
They're acting like it's still urgent, so
I just don't like how Koshiro is like, the power's out, but if we don't fix it within 3 days, I'm like, what's gonna happen if
yeah,
like
what happens if the power's out? Like we've had rolling blackouts here. My power has been out. It's chill, dude.
well, I still like what does the power being out for 3 days specifically do at the end of 3 days? Like
If they
and then a missile
said
hits
the
or what?
generator, like the generators won't hold on that
Right,
long,
right,
then
yeah.
I'd be like, okay, let's go save Matt's brother. Well, I like how we've written this. So
Wait, you called him Matt.
yeah, because you told me his name was Matt.
Oh, okay, you remembered that. Okay.
Yeah, we had a whole like 2-hour discussion about the first 3 episodes of these. I learned. And what was Taichi's name? Just Tai?
Yeah. Do you remember Koshiro?
No.
Izzy, because his last name is Zumi.
Oh, yes. And then everybody else's name you can kind of just say, right? Joe, is Joe still Joe?
Yeah.
That'd be insane if they changed that.
Well, there's controversy because like some people are insistent on spelling his name, even this version, in the Japanese way, like Jou, not Joe, and they're annoyed the subtitles say Joe, but you know.
It's Joe's fine.
Yeah, that's like barely localization.
What, they could just say Jo.
Yeah, they do that for Koshiro. Like for Koshiro, they remove the long O.
Yeah, because it just doesn't, like, it's not necessary.
Yeah. Well, my biggest pet peeve is, one of my biggest pet peeves in Digimon fandom is that the common way that fans of, I guess it was like, I don't know if it was baked into subtitles or what, but like the common way that fans refer to Koshiro is with, so his name, both O's are long. It's Koshiro. Both of them are long. But the common way to spell his name in English is with one long and one short. And I'm like, that's not his name, but no one cares aside from me.
That's fine, Jeff. You can be the only one who cares.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get back to a little bit like the evolutions and like why it's like the bees and the I thought it'd be clear because it's like there are bees and there's wasps, but then it's weird because like Kanabimon is also a bee, but still, it's a little weird. But they try to attack Kanabimon and then fall off, and then Joe gets captured and gets brought into the fortress, and
Oh, poor Joe.
and then Sora says they have to go save him. Bimato has an idea, and their idea is to intercept some Waspmon, let out some fun Bimon, and then let themselves get captured and go into the fortress. And basically then once they're in the fortress, Gabumon breaks out, goes into Garudamon, and then also evolves into Garudamon, and we get a fancy new sequence. This is following a pattern that Metal Greymon did too, where like there was a first time evolution sequence and then a stock sequence they would reuse later. And we haven't seen that yet, because we've only seen the second one first, one time. But anyway, this seems like a more reusable sequence, and I like it because it doesn't have the first time Garudamon evolved. He had 4 arms for a second there. Like instead of his front legs turning into his arms, they like added 2 arms on top, and it was uncanny. But now his front legs turn into his arms.
Ugh,
but yeah, basically that they accidentally break out Joe, and then Gomon and Joe are reunited, and then they get surrounded. So like Weregumon is just like destroying tons of Waspmon, because Waspmon are champion and Weregumon's ultimate, so it's like just like decimating them. And then they just suddenly get surrounded by a bunch of Waspmon, and they're like, oh no, we can't do anything about this, we need to escape. And it's like Weregumon could take on all of these. Yeah.
Inconsistent. Also, like, I'm sorry, but it's weird to me how Digimon, like the ones that we know, talk and have like personalities and stuff, and then when we fight an enemy, we're just like, we're just gonna not say any words and then we'll die. And the kids kill mercilessly.
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me, you're just like, they're not people, but like they're Digimon, and like your Digimon speak. Like, don't you think that the other ones have like sentience, and you're just okay with like throwing them into like that horrible acid goo. I don't remember what it was called.
Well, yeah, and it's
Or off a
especially weird
cliff.
because they've mentioned a couple different mechanics. They've hinted at. I mean, we've seen Soundbirdmon that like possess Digimon or like can control them, and then in that episode where they introduced
Yeah.
that, they like Koshiro took down the Soundbirdmon.
They still killed those, what were they? The little green ones. They were mad and they wanted to steal the fruit.
I think I don't remember if they killed them.
They killed them.
I think they might have let them go. But yeah, they've definitely killed lots of
No,
other ones.
they're
And
dead.
they killed lots of other ones, even though they knew they made a point in that episode of learning, like they shared like Koshiro shared the information about Soundbirdmon, and they've seen the Soundbirdmon later, and they just have continued to kill the Digimon. And now there's this like dark miasma thing that like might be a possession thing, might not be. But either way, they seem to just be mercilessly killing without worrying about whether they're innocent or kind hearted at heart. Ugh,
So
yeah.
dumb.
But anyway, so they escape. Then Sora's like, I need to go back because I show how much I love them to say that I saved them. And Yamato's like, I knew you would do that. And then saving them becomes more about Yamato than Sora. And Yamato and Wergumon go inside. They break out everyone with a single attack. And then, or just like the shot of Wergumon carrying the Funbimon. I don't know why he's carrying them because they can fly, but whatever. It's cute. And then Cannonbimon shoots a giant beam at Birdramon that destroys the mountain. And
Oh, it was like a big explosion too, right?
yeah,
Okay.
but Sora reflects on how Joe and Yamato are helping everyone out, and the Funbimon are suffering, and then her Digivice glows, and Birdramon evolves into Garudamon. It's not the worst evolution sequence. It's better than she got for Birdramon, so that's nice.
Yeah. Also, what's that? Birdramon. That's the name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That Digimon is putting in the most work of all these Digimon and
Like carrying
gets
everyone?
no respect.
Yeah.
Yes, they would not be able to do any of this journey without her.
What did you think about when they're at that, like, a couple episodes back, like they're at the dark miasma pool or whatever. And they're like, we need to go straight forward. We're told we need to go straight through this. We have no way of going straight through this. We're going to split up and go two different ways. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was stupid. Just fly with the bird.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I've seen people have commented that, like, people have pointed out that, like, every time they've flown with Birdramon so far, they always get knocked out of the sky and end up falling. So, like, if they did that over the poison lake, then, like, they'd probably die. So,
Or
like,
at least just go together, though.
yeah. Well, okay. This is one thing
Fly around together.
what they mentioned in that episode, the reason they split up was that they didn't know which of the two paths would be viable. They assumed that only one of the two would be viable. So they split up to test both routes, not to go meet up. Like, and in this episode, Koshiro says, like, oh, this is the point we're going to meet up with Yamato's group. And it's like, that's not what you agreed on. What you agreed on was to go, like, you would both go and then kind of like report back and then figure out which way was the viable route. But now you're just acting like both. If you thought both routes were viable, then you should have just both gone to one of them. Ugh.
Yeah.
But I mean, it plays a good purpose for the structure of the show to narrow down the cast and let us see the interactions more. But it's stupid that they kind of forgot their reasoning.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. Just go together.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have to go back for the other people if their route wasn't viable. Then you're just gonna be like, okay, they're gonna have to come around the other way. It's gonna take twice as long.
Yeah, it's not smart. I mean, I figured that what they would do is like they'd both go separate routes, then they would get there and realize that both of them were valuable, and then be like, oh, I guess we didn't need to split up, and that would be fine. But instead, they're like, oh, we planned this, and I'm like, no, that's not what you planned. Yeah.
Foolishness. They're
Yeah.
children. Why is it always children? Can't we just have like a reasonable adult be able to save the world?
You're really channeling that Joe right now. That's what he wanted.
Listen,
Just an
he
adult.
had a point.
Yeah.
He's like, I have exams. Why are we? I'm the oldest. Why are we doing this?
So once Garudamon appears, Garudamon just starts deflecting missiles. That big giant beam that destroyed an entire mountain, Garudamon can just deflect, just like overpower with her own beam.
How many Digimon died because he deflected into a mountain?
And then Garudamon bursts inside, blows up the like inside reactor core thing that I guess exists within Cannonbimon, and then carries off a part of Cannonbimon's body, and then Cannonbimon's head falls off and the body explodes. Like, this is like, I get that it's machine-like, but it's like you just spent all this time describing it's a Digimon, and then you're just like, oh, let's take off some body parts, let's like let the head fall off, like.
Yeah, this also, it's so weird because that's an ultimate Digimon, right? Like the big beehive, and like that's a whole building. And then you got Lilymon. She's so small and not very capable.
Wow, why would you say she's not capable?
Because she does the least out of everybody. Everybody else fights more.
I guess is another instance of the bar just being so much lower from the original show. Because in the original show, when Lilymon appears, she basically just puts a reef on someone, like purifies them by putting a reef on them, and then immediately gets like I forget if she gets like poisoned or like turned to stone or something. She gets like stuck in that form and like paralyzed for several episodes, and she doesn't even get to attack. She just puts a reef on someone. So in this
So
version, it's like,
sad.
oh well, she actually got to do something.
Yeah,
But
and like the cactus one, who I love because he looks silly. Or they're like, it's okay. I'm the evolution of the little one, and I just punch, and I was like, this is so sad. It was so sad.
well, now she kicks.
Now, yeah, that's two thing. Great. The other ones shoot fireballs and are giant weird werewolves and they like slice things. Like what are you doing?
I mean, I think it's cool how like when she shoots the flower cannon or whatever, like it can like purify things or like grass can grow and like paralyze Digimon or something. Did
Yeah,
you think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
ruthless that because in our last episode we kind of assumed that what they were saying was that like Angemon was going to be stuck there forever now, not like because
Yes.
some people conclude that he's been like purified and he'll be okay soon. Or like the grass will like fade off and then he'll be fine. But I assumed that he was just killed and left there to die. What do you think?
I thought that because the what was it, Guardmon?
Garudamon, yeah.
Guardmon died and was like friends with the the Digimon, the one you said. And
I like not helping you out though.
oh, it's so painful. The one you said. They were friends, and he was like, "Oh no, what did I do? I killed my friend." And then I think he was like, "I'll just die."
I think he chose to die.
Yeah, because he like kind of stopped fighting, right?
Well, no, because he was like kind of like the vines were growing over him as he realized.
Oh, so he's being purified. I feel like he's fine with dying then, because he just killed his friend. You know.
No, maybe okay.
He's like, "Bye, I deserve this shit." He killed his boy.
All right, so that was basically the episode. There's a scene at the end where Taichi and their party reach an area with reception, and like Kosho is finally able to connect his laptop to the internet just to confirm that the area they're going to is ahead. Like, there's this whole B plot throughout the whole episode about like Kosho being like, I need to find Wi-Fi. Oh no, I need to find Wi-Fi to confirm what's ahead of us. Oh, I got Wi-Fi. Yep, it's ahead of us. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm sick of him. Sorry to Koshiro.
okay, that's harsh. I feel like they were just stalling this episode. I feel like they didn't have as much of a story to tell. Like, I feel like my impression from the structure of these episodes is that they basically, especially since they're debuting the like full evolution sequence for Garudamon in this episode, that like they kind of, this episode was a bit like there was less going on and they had to pad it with like those scenes with Taichi and Koshiro, since it's the character that it seems like everyone in the staff is considered at least favorite, at least important to prioritize. So and then like I assume the other kids in the group, like Koshiro on Taichi's side and Joe on Yamato's side, I assume they will get more focus of their episodes, but we'll see. Yeah, okay.
Well, you'll see.
Yeah, you're right, you won't. So now onto some 3-word reviews. First one came in from our very own Andrew / at Drew Softman on Twitter. Fun B Mon.
At Golden Pelt said, "Wow, cool." How do I say these names? Garudamon?
Garudamon.
Garudamon. I'll try that again. At Golden Pelt says, "Wow, cool Garudamon."
At With a Will said, not enough Sora.
At Tokujo, Canon Beamon versus Fanon Beamon.
At Credo Prime, Stan Garudamon's chest.
What? Get help.
What?
Sounds like you're lusting after a Digimon.
I think it's because like the attack comes out of Garudamon's chest.
Oh, I thought there was like being like horny for a Digimon.
No,
I
I mean,
whoa. At Megadramon?
mhm.
Is that what you'd say? Okay. At Megadramon22, Chandler Bing's Digimon.
Do you get it?
No.
So like, I guess Chandler Bing had I don't know if it was a catchphrase or a common joke that was like,
Could you be any more Digimon?
yeah.
I don't know how you would end that.
Could you be any more Canon Beamon?
Oh my god.
Could you be any more of a fortress?
This is painful.
No Context Mon said, be the winners. The insert song that they play when they go to champion usually is called Be the Winner. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, without the B pun.
At Dot Yawning says, not having fun, parentheses, Beamon.
At CRM McRae said, bees, my god.
At Empire Will says, I'm not trash.
Which we forgot to mention, that's what Joe says when he's in the trash
Joe.
chute and when they ask him if he's in the trash chute and he's like, I'm not trash, which is a
I
mood.
don't know. Poor Joe.
It's a mood.
He's just hurt so much.
He's a character that like a lot of Digimon fans as kids were like, oh, he sucks. We don't like him. Like everyone's just on him like he sucks.
I love Joe.
But yeah, like especially now as adults, it's like, oh, we're all Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I like Sora because she's just like chill, but like Joe is my inner anxieties.
At DigiDigiXMonMon said, another vague power-up.
At Gigadramon22, unrelenting murder machines.
At Grimcatician, Gomon Scene Stealer.
At Liam X2000, happening so quickly.
At Dak and Jackster, Birds and Bees.
At Ursam Rablek, wasted Garudamon potential.
At A_Blade, fun Beemon are cute. Heart,
I
sparkly.
forgot the underscore in the other person's.
It's fine.
At Free Gravity, airship or Digimon?
At Actar Reikit, least animation's good? Question mark?
Wow.
Is it?
I don't know. At in your net, Bergermon shafted again. Facts. Those are facts.
At Harlequin Yosei, Stormtrooper Syndrome.
At AguChamp64, Fun V1, underwhelming, rushed.
And they followed up and said that review applies to every Ultimate Evolution episode so far. Just swap out Fun B1 with a cute, cool Digimon they meet that episode. Fair? Yeah.
Yep.
At Andy Lucas TT said, not the bees.
At Board Individual says, Fun Beemons, no lizard.
This is my favorite one that came in. Let's take a quick trip to the Save sidebar to explain this reference.
Thank you.
Fun Beemon's voice actor, I forgot her name. Ria Kugimiya also voices, I don't know how to say his name in English. It's spelled like Vern, but I think they say like B. Anyway, he's the like lizard thing that's like the mascot of Grand Blue Fantasy, and he's a dragon, and everyone calls him a lizard, and he's like, not a lizard, not a lizard. So that's why this reference is to how Fun Beemon's no lizard, because that dragon thing from Grand Blue Fantasy, not a lizard. Yeah, so shout out, fellow Digimon plus Grand Blue Fantasy fan there. All right, so some listener questions. Grimcatician asked, what draws / continues to draw you to Digimon? As adult viewers, what works that doesn't work for you with the show, pacing, comedy, exposition, etc.? For Annie, what do you most enjoy about the show / franchise? What would a smaller you think of the show and maybe other seasons?
What drew me to Digimon? Jeff forced me into it.
But you also, this thing we covered in the Love It or Weeb It episode, but like you did have a curiosity because you had a bunch of friends who cared about Digimon too, right?
That's true. And also it just feels like a cultural thing that I should know about Digimon stuff.
And this seemed like a good point to jump in to test those waters.
Yeah, because it's like the same story, but starting from the beginning. And it's newer, so it looks better, apparently. But I agree with a lot of those short reviews, and my own like experience is that it is weirdly paced and not fun to watch because of it. It's just like really, really slow talking for a while. And then, look, everyone's evolving, and it feels like there's no stakes ever.
Because they're evolving so much?
Well, yeah, because like they're like evolving doesn't feel like the story has any like real stakes, like the power's out, whatever. And then like they're evolving, and it doesn't seem like it's a big deal at all. Like they say like, wow, and I'm like, okay, but everybody's doing it. And it doesn't seem hard, because once they do it once, they're just like, all right, we're gonna be ultimate Digimon now. Everybody go.
Like once the first one does it, then it's like, okay, clearly it's going to happen to the other ones too.
Yeah, and then like once the first one does it, they just do it again and again. It's not like some rare occurrence anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a lot of fun to watch as an adult. But as a kid, I feel like I'd be okay with it just being like cool evolution fight every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like I for sure would have been fine with that. I might not have loved the Digimon because they aren't very cute, but I'm so sorry to Digimon, but they're not cute. I want to see cute little critters.
Yeah, especially me as a kid, I would not have. The fact that they are less cute probably would be a thing that attracts me more, because I'm like, oh, Digimon's just this stupid cute thing for babies. Sorry,
Oh,
Pokemon.
I see.
Pokemon would be the cute thing for babies. Digimon is the like cool, edgier thing. But
Yeah.
And I think that the things that feel lacking about this show compared to the original, I definitely feel like are the kind of thing that as a kid I would not have cared about or noticed. I would have been like, oh my god, this one's cool, this one's flashier, this one's more exciting. Like, but I don't really think there's much of an audience for kids who are comparing it to the original show. I think it's either kids who are experiencing new for the first time, or adults experiencing having memories of the original. And I don't know. I mean, I always find myself of two minds, because like there are a lot of aspects of the show that I complain about, like the pacing, the writing, the storyboarding, like all of these things that I'm like, I shouldn't put too much of a focus or a lens on these things when ultimately it's a show for kids. It's just meant to be fun. And all those kind of nitpicks, like I don't mean to be like overanalyzing this thing that's just meant to be fun. It's more that like I'm trying to find why it's not fun and like why it doesn't work to me as an adult, but I can never really put myself in the headspace of what it's like for kids. So,
Yeah, me either.
Because I mean, there's lots of stuff that like, even if you try and put yourself in the mindset of like, oh yeah, this seems like the kind of thing a kid would like, you can't predict what kids actually like. They like weird things.
That's true. And they also like Paw Patrol, which is dope. So
Do you want to cover Paw Patrol and Love It a Wee Bit?
No, I don't want to cover. I will cover Backyardigans.
I don't want to know what that is.
Classic anime review. You don't know what Backyardigans is?
Okay, let's keep going. Andy Lucas TT said, I struggle to think of a more violent Digimon death. They established the miasma as controlling the Waspmon and they're kidnapping Funbimon. Sora uses her crest of love to evolve, then remove part of Cannonbeemon's body before decapitating it. My jaw actually dropped when it happened. Aside from Machinedramon, who was a Dark Master, is this the most violent Digimon death, especially for a Digimon under mind control? What makes it worse is the message this episode sends with Sora's crest being love. Even the Funbimon don't seem to care at the end. Yeah.
They're
like
just murderers. Like, these children are just killing Digimon left and right without any regard. It's wild.
The thing that makes it especially weird is that for returning Digimon fans, this is a thing that basically in the original show, the kids, they were never this ruthless with murdering because it was kind of like either enemy Digimon were like scary enough that and seemed like their own threats. They were like violent enough on their own that they had to kill them, or they were being possessed and they found a way to like cure the possession. But they did have to kill a lot of Digimon, right? Like they had to because it was like they were going to keep killing them if they didn't do anything about it. And then in the second season, the kids basically, the new set of kids that come along, basically never have to do that until the end of the show. And then at that point, the older generation of the kids from the first season are kind of like, we had to kill them. And the new ones are like, oh no, we never had to kill them before. Oh no, like we don't want to kill them. And so it like, becomes a plot point. And it's weird how like the kids in the second generation have trouble with it when the kids in the first generation didn't. So it's like, anyway, I think it was awkwardly handled in that second season of the show. But it's just weird that like this is definitely gonna be a topic that's on the minds of fans because it's the thing that's come up before and been a central plot point. So it's like you'd think they'd try to handle it better because they know fans would be thinking about it. But it's weird because like this decapitation and whatever, like it's because Cannonbeemon's so machine-like and it's basically just like a giant fortress. To me, it did not feel like, oh my god, this is so violent. I was kind of like, this is absurd. Like, oh my god, the head just fell off. Wow. But I wasn't like, this is gruesome.
Well, it's confusing for me as someone who doesn't know Digimon very well. I was like, okay, so is this a Digimon or is it a machine? Because they are just ripping it apart.
When they proposed, like, just take this honeycomb cell or whatever off, I was like, what? You can do that? Just like rip this part from the Digimon's body? No. That shouldn't be
Yeah, I feel
possible.
like it would hurt.
Yeah. But no, Garudamon just lifts it. Anyway, Megajimon22 asked, what do you think of the Dark Miasma now being confirmed to control Digimon? Why add the moral complexity if you're not going to address it? Why not just have evil Digimon do the deeds? Friendship and love are these characters' strongest traits? I'm not impressed.
Friendship and love do not seem to be these characters' strongest traits from them just, again, killing with no remorse.
Yeah.
It is, again, frustrating story-wise when they are being possessed and we do not address that at all.
Yeah.
Hi, they're being possessed. Cool, whatever. I'm still gonna shoot them with my fire blasts. And also, wait, no, thing. So that one green Digimon with the club and the horns.
Ogremon with the horn? Yeah,
Yes.
and he like horn was his pride.
He was like, yeah, my pride, blah blah blah, whatever, and they fought. They proved that the bad Digimon can be their friends, kind of, or allies, because he's like, by the way, go straight, here's the info you need. Sorry. And it's like, okay, so if you know that the bad ones you're fighting can actually be chill, why are you killing them all? Like, you just watched one go from bad to friend, kind of. What?
Yeah.
What?
You have a point.
This is why you don't have kids save the world, because they don't know what's going on. I know why they're killing people left and right, because this is 2020, and they have been desensitized to violence. And
oh god. I'm gonna read the next two questions because they tie into the thing about the Dark Miasma controlling Digimon. So Empire Will asked, Cannonbeemon using Waspmon and being enemies of the Funbeemon was weird. Usually evolutionary lines are shown as being allied with each other. And then Enura Nat asked, the Funbeemon/Waspmon conflict threw me off. They are direct lines of evolution after all. Any takes on the increasingly mixed messaging of the Dark Miasma and Soundbirdmon? I feel like we still don't know how they are connected at all to Devamon/Dark Forces, etc. So I want to clarify for you that like Digimon doesn't have like Pokemon a single evolutionary line, right? It's not like Charmander,
you got it. You got this. Charmeleon.
Charizard.
Yeah.
It's not like they only have one evolution. It's like in the show, almost always they have one single evolutionary line, but like in the games they can branch. In the card games they can do all sorts of crazy things. In other types of media they might have a different canonical line and stuff. So it's like much more nebulous. But usually, especially with like the main character Digimon, it's like it's obvious which one they designed to be the main one, which is like you were saying with Palmon to Togemon to Lilymon is weird because most of the other ones actually make sense, and that's one that doesn't. But yeah, so I just bring up to say that like Funbeemon, like basically it is kind of a line. Funbeemon to Waspmon to Cannonbeemon. So it's weird to see them basically enslaving their rookie form / child form. but I think what they're going for that was that like they would capture the Funbeamon and then kind of like force them to evolve and then possess them as Waspmon. Because they say they're turning the Funbeamon into soldiers. We never see Funbeamon as soldiers. We only see Waspmon as soldiers. But
So they're forcing them to evolve and then abusing them.
yeah. But yeah, it's weird that like that all happens off screen. Like we don't see a single like I don't know like a scene of them being forced to evolve or anything. Like it's so this episode just felt so perfunctory. Like it was like, oh no, they're being chased. Oh no, we should save them. Oh no, we saved them, but we need to destroy the tower, the fortress. Oh no, yeah.
Let's murder!
I was
Woo!
so excited about this episode because like Canonbeamon is in the recent Cyber Sleuth video games for PS4 and PS Vita and Steam, but they in those games just are sized like any other Digimon. Like I didn't really think of Canonbeamon as being giant fortresses, so I was like, oh man, they're gonna go inside a Canonbeamon. That's so cool, and it wasn't.
No.
Yeah. So Gigajimon22 asked, "Are we sure the crests still mean what they meant in the original? What if they've changed?" And they proposed some different changes, like Tai being responsibility because he was the bait, Yamato says Matt being knowledge because he was planning an ambush, Mimi being courage because she was fighting after losing an ally, Sora being friendship to save Yamato says Matt and Funbeamon, and I think it's a definite real possibility that the crests are not going to be named or are going to have a totally different purpose or whatever. But I think they know that the fandom would revolt if they gave them different attributes completely. That would be weird to me.
I have no opinions because none of this shit made sense to me in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, for some context, like the ultimate evolutions in the original show, this has been like a point of contention the last couple weeks because the ultimate evolutions in the original show were like the final evolutions they got to. So like Lilymon was like Mimi's final evolution in the original show, and the fact she gets it at episode like 12, and this one is like what? And also because it was their like final evolution, it was like the culmination of their character arcs. And so for it to be so early and to basically feel almost like they haven't had character arcs yet is like, do any of these evolutions mean anything? So you saying like, oh, the evolutions feel they don't mean anything. There's been a similar sentiment in the fandom as well.
I'm basically in the fandom at this point. I speak for the people.
You're caught in Waspmon's net and you're stuck. You have to keep watching.
No, let's keep moving.
Okay, so last question from Corrado Primes, and he asked, "This is just speculation since there's no way to be sure. But given the speed at which the show is going, do you think that they are just going to completely skip Angemon, Magnangemon, and Angelomon to go directly to Seraphimon and Ophanimon?"
Who?
So these are all of the angelic Digimon. Like I was showing you Patamon going to Angemon.
Oh, okay.
Like that hot guy that Patamon becomes is Angemon.
Good God. Okay.
And then Angemon's sexy lady friend is Angelwomon. Get it? Because it's like
No.
woman. It's like woman, but
Jeff,
all the
this is
Digimon
why-
and all the
this
Digimon
is
names
why-
end in mon.
This is why no one likes Digimon.
Angelomon is very popular.
Ugh.
She has lots of big boobs, like two whole of them.
Name one Pokemon with giant titties. You can't. Actually, I think there is one, but I can't remember her name.
Have you seen the Angelomon figure? I think it got banned from some storefronts because it was too explicit.
Oh my god. I hate this.
Yeah, Angelomon's a thing. So yeah, to create a Prime's question, like I think that's a possibility. But basically, what they're asking is like, will they already be at their final evolution, their mega form, when we meet them somehow? And I don't know. The pacing is so different. It's a possibility, but also like we see in the opening, like Patamon and Gatomon and stuff. So like I think whatever is going to happen, they're still going to have to. Patamon and Gatomon are still going to be involved heavily. Like whether that means they can freely go all the way up to Seraphimon and Funimon or Magnanimon, maybe. But I think they're still going to go back down to their Patamon and Gatomon forms. But that's one of the
Yes.
big mysteries of the show that I am excited to see how it fits into the things.
Agree.
Oh, I guess it's not that weird to you that like there are these two characters that haven't been introduced yet still. I mean, we've seen them, but they haven't actually been brought into the group yet. And one of the big mysteries of the show is how they're going to be brought in.
Oh, like that, his little sister?
Yeah,
Teichi's
little sister and little brother.
That fresh out the womb baby that's going to apparently join the fight.
She's not fresh out the womb. Look at her in that figure.
She is fresh out that womb. She is practically a fetus.
Actually, yeah, in the big boobed Angelomon figure, the Kari that comes alongside it looks even more like a literal infant.
Yes. She's so small. Ugh.
But Kari just wants to. What's the line from Steven Universe? The song? I just want to be a giant woman.
I want to see a giant
I want
woman.
to see a giant woman. Yeah, that's what she wants. She just wants to see a giant woman.
All I want to do is see you turn into a giant woman.
Right. That's where the Steven Universe song came from.
Nope, it's not. It's sure not, but
It's possible.
I don't know. There is Digimon fusion, and then there's fusion in Steven Universe. So
I mean, if they're inspired by Utena, they probably were inspired by Digimon.
I hope not.
Anyway, our final thoughts on this episode. What do you think? Is there anything you need to mention? I assume you've mentioned more than you want to thing you wanted to say.
Yes. Also, just put some respect on what's the bird's one's name that I
Bergermon.
can't remember.
The bird
Bergermon.
one? The bird
The bird
Drummon
one,
one?
the big one. Put some respect on her name that I can't remember because she is doing the most.
Okay, so people should respect Joe more, respect Bergermon more.
Yeah.
How would you rate this episode out of 5 stars?
None. I don't. Two. Two.
2, okay.
I docked some for boring, animation not being great, and the murder.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 as well.
Look at us agreeing for once.
I keep agreeing with guests, which I'm like, it makes it feel contrived, but like, I swear I was gonna give it anyway.
Uh huh.
Do you have an MVP?
Bergermon.
Okay.
How dare you?
Bergermon's boring.
Yeah, but without her, they'd all be dead. They'd all be dead in the miasma or whatever.
I'm tempted to do Garudamon because he is the coolest, and I fall for that fairy bait. But I don't like him upstaging Sora, so I guess I'm gonna do Goemon. No one really. But Goemon.
Honestly,
if I have
who
to.
can resist that werewolf in cargo pants?
I mean, it's once the cargo pants come off that's real fun. So.
I hate you.
Okay, so next episode is episode 13, The Kings of the Insects Clash. It seems like Koshiro and Tentomon have to master a maze. Seems like
Wait, I thought this was episode 13.
Oh, you're right. Episode 14.
Wow, I am the Digimon master.
That's not a phrase. But anyway, it seems like they fight Kuwagamon / Grand Kuwagamon. Yeah, you're not going to watch this.
No, I'm not.
Was there anything that made you excited at all? Was there anything in this preview that made you be like, oh, maybe I'm curious?
No.
Okay.
I don't like Koshiro, and I want less of him in the show.
Oh.
Sorry to this child.
Yeah.
But sorry, I just don't care.
Sorry,
Digimon.
I was curious to see because I feel like of the traits, knowledge is one of the hardest ones to like make an evolution about. But I'm like, oh, the premise of this episode is that they're lost in a maze, and it seems like based on the animation that like he maybe loses his computer for a little bit. Like, yep, it seems like they structured it basically around that, which kind of bums me out because like his original evolution arc to Ultimate in the original show was that he like it wasn't that he like learned to be smart and learned to have knowledge or whatever. It was that he like learned to balance that with caring about people as well. So, but whatever, still early. Okay, so one last thing I want to do before I close out the show is I wrote down some iconic dub Digimon quotes. And since you haven't actually experienced the dub of Digimon, except for like maybe some things on TV a little bit, but I'm really curious to see you try to fill in the gaps of these iconic quotes.
All right.
The final big bad villain of season 1 of the original show. His name is Apocalypse, after Apocalypse, for sure. The episode title is actually called Now Apocalypse, but anyway.
Oh, God.
His most iconic quote is, why do you all get the blank while I get the blank? What do you think he said?
Why do you all get the glory while I get the blame? I don't know. Maybe he thought he was right.
Why do you all get the pizza and I get the crust?
What the hell kind of quote is this?
Oh.
This is why no one likes Digimon.
So this quote is from Greymon. It's early in the show. It's like episode 10 or 11 or so. And Greymon just gets knocked down. And then Taichi's like, are you okay, Greymon? And then Greymon replies, I'm blank, dude.
Vibing.
Close. I'm styling, dude.
Styling?
Oh, okay. So
Who
Matt,
did this?
who is Yamato, of course, says, I don't know when this is from the show, but he says, I've been living a lie. And Gabumon says, you're not blank.
Matt?
You're not Matt?
Yeah. He said I've been living a lie.
No. You're not a natural blonde?
I'm sorry, what?
So Demi Devimon, so you've seen Devimon. I don't know if you remember like the scary thing that they've like been talking to and they haven't actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that's fun about the original show that we haven't really seen is like in the original show they beat this giant Devimon thing that's like the incarnation of like the devil, and the next thing they fight is like an Elvis impersonating monkey that's like much stronger, and it's like, oh, it's cool how weird the show is, but this show is felt much more like standard and obvious, or it's like, yeah, like in the original show Metal Greymon evolves to fight this Elvis impersonating monkey, and it's like it's a weird scenario, but in this show it's like, yeah, Metal Greymon fights the Metal Tyrannomon, like it's Metal Dino versus Metal Dino. Yeah. Anyway, so after Devimon's defeated, there's a later villain that has a henchman that's Demi Devimon, which is like a little cute little like petite little Devimon that floats around and looks kind of like Patamon a little bit. But anyway, he says, everyone makes mistakes. Remember blank?
Hannah Montana.
Disco.
Oh, I like disco. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
Oh boy.
You don't love that Nobody's Perfect Hannah Montana song?
No, I do not.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody gets that way.
So this is from early on in the second season, but it features characters that you recognize. So Tentomon, they're like going to some temple where there's like a thing there or whatever. And Tentomon says, just the temple. And Biyomon says, but it's closed down now. And then Tentomon says, they couldn't blank. So why is it closed? Because they couldn't blank.
Afford rent.
Couldn't book enough weddings or bar mitzvahs.
Good God. Like, I think mine are bad and then it's just worse.
This one I don't know if it's actually funny, but it's become like a kind of weird meme. And it's Ken the best. Oh my god, Ken's the best part of the entire show. But anyway, he's like taunting the main character. He's basically like the evil Digimon Emperor, and he's taunting the main character whose name is Davis, and he says, "Some nice blank you got there, Davis."
I don't like this one. Friends?
Oh, you got it. Some nice friend you
Really?
got there, Davis.
Oh.
For some reason, that single line like gets like thousands of retweets every time people post it, and it's like I don't know why. I guess the particular line delivery is weird. How much he's like eating up like some nice friends you got there, Davis.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
Okay, well, I made it more uncomfortable.
I can't wait to watch that at some point and then never think about it again.
You'll see it retweeted like once every 10 years, and then be like, oh yeah, that thing. So Gatamon, who you have not met but you've seen the opening, the cat.
Okay, that makes sense, gato.
You know the Spanish word for cat?
Yes.
Wow.
I learned Spanish for 6 years, Jeff.
Oh, okay. So Gatamon says, laughter is just a way of covering things up, sort of like blank.
Makeup?
Sort of like I do in a litter box.
No!
Oh. Okay, this one I think is relevant because it's featuring a different Garudamon. It's in season 3. It's actually Garudamon that's a partner Digimon. And so the kid that he's partnered with says, I have to deal with blank. And then Garudamon says, once you start dating blank.
Wait, I have to deal with blank once you start dating blank?
Mhm.
Wait, I don't get it. Wait, is it just one word each?
This one's, I guess, hard format with 2 different blanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll reveal it. So the kid says, I have to deal with 2 sad girls. And then Garudamon says, once you start dating, I'm sure you'll make many girls sad.
Wow.
So that's a very different Garudamon from this one that we've seen.
Okay. Isn't ours dead?
Yeah, that too.
Right.
He's also dead. Okay, that was fun.
Yeah, I learned a lot about Digimon being very specific in their jokes.
There were more Jewish jokes than I remembered when I was flipping through the quotes I'd written down over the years.
Representation matters, Jeff.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the show. Last week's Digiprompt was, what Digimon ally from outside of Adventure would you like to see remixed into Adventure 2020 and how? And my favorite response came in from Grimcatician on Twitter. And they said, Beelzebumon. I think it'd be neat to have him as an ally because right now the conflict is very much light versus dark. And having a dark Digimon as an ally would help blur the implication that Digimon are either inherently bad or good depending on attributes like light or dark. This week's Digiprompt is, if this episode was based on the birds and the bees, what famous saying would you like to see become the premise of an episode and why? Send your Digiprompt responses and general feedback to podages@gmail.com, podages on Twitter, or in the episode comments on our website, podages.com. If this is your first episode, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or in a traditional podcast app. If you want to support the show, leaving a review on Apple Podcasts is really the best way and is greatly appreciated. And share the podcast with your friends who will burst you out of bee jail. I'm definitely Jeff on Twitter, and you can also check out both of our podcasts, Love It or Weeb It. We talk about general anime and things that are not Digimon. So, Annie, thank you so much for being on and enduring this torture.
You're welcome. I did it for, I was gonna say the power of friendship, but I don't think that's true. I think I did it for a trade.
I think you did it for an extra couple
views.
A couple views on the
listen.
BTS YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
thanks for having me out, Jeff.
I would normally ask you what you want to plug, but I kind of just plugged.
Love It or Weeb It.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Critically acclaimed podcast, sweeping the nation and the world. Not the nation.
If you want to hear Jeff and I like literally scream at each other, then that's where you have to go.
We're going to be covering, wait, when this one airs, the next episode's going to be Mr. Love Queen's Choice?
Yes.
I think so. There might also be
Great Pretender.
Great Pretender around the same time. So, yeah, it's there's lots of new anime to check out, and it's not always worth watching all of them. So
no, and we do it for you, so you're welcome.
Yeah, we're doing the world a service.
Yeah, after this, I have to go watch the next one.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with another guest next week to talk about episode 14, The Kings of the Insects Clash. Bye!
Bye!
And remember, never stop digivolving.
虹を見つけたいなら顔を上げなくちゃって差し出された手が僕らをずっと強くする夢を掴みたいなら震えその一歩前に踏み出してごらんよ今ならきっと空を飛べるから
Okay, I'm gonna let you know right here and now that I do not remember almost any Digimon's names. So I'm going to describe them by their appearance and what I remember them as, and I'm very sorry.
That'll be good. Really good perspective. Sometimes it's that they that they like embody the thing really well. Oh my god, Pixel's trying to climb. Ah.
Hi,
Oh boy.
Pixel.
He was trying to climb, but he didn't jump up at all. He just like grabbed and then tried to like climb from nothing. I was like, you're not on me at all.